How's it going, everybody? It's Frisby Moonsong here. Yow! And today, as you can see, we are talking all about the Gishki deck. I did make promises that we are going to be showing people how to combo with this thing. So this is what we have right over here. As you can see, Gale Dogger is already sitting there looking menacing as hell. I got a new shave, yeah, trying to look a bit younger. We are going to be doing a couple ways to get into the combo. So we are going to be telling you how to search for the cards that you need, how to get into the cards you need, and then what happens when you get to the final field when you need to start looping, so how you're going to go from there. So let's first go into what cards you need to actually make the combo happen. So first of all, we need, oh wow, they're all together. We need a Gale Dogger, we need a telekinetic charging cell, and then any other two monsters on the field. So that's how the combo, how to get to the combo. So you have to have the Gale Dogger on the field. Your two monsters need to be able to link into the Reaperdocus. The Reaperdocus uses its effect to change the Gale Dogger to Psychic, and you then equip the telekinetic charging cell to the Gale Dogger. Now remember, Gale Dogger is not once per turn. Excuse me. It is not once per turn, so you can send cards from the extra deck to the graveyard as many times as you want, and the telekinetic charging cell will make it that you don't have to pay life points for it. So with the Gale Dogger, you're going to be sending your Herald of the Arclight. Your Herald of the Arclight is going to search you for a ritual card. So let us search for Saravis first, in case they want to target something. I don't know, they might have targeted something by then anyway. And then let us send another Herald of the Arclight to add the ritual spell. So we're going to add the Gishki Aquamira. Then we are going to use Gale Dogger again. We are going to send Omega, and Omega can target one of the Herald of the Arclights and add itself and the Arclight back. And then we are going to send the Omega again to be able to target the other Arclight and send it back. And this is obviously your loop that you keep sending in order to actually get your infinite searches. So you're going to search for your Zeogeigus, you're going to search for your two Nerimanas, which are all level 10s, and then you are going to search for your ritual spell, which is also for the combo, of course. Now, the idea is within the combo, most of the time you are going to have at least one Nerimanas on the field, because this will protect you from Nib. So Nerimanas on ritual summon, it summons a water monster from your grave, which is really strong because it can revive anything. Remember, it cannot revive the ritual monsters that have not been ritual summoned correctly. So you need to ritual summon them first, and then after that can revive the ritual monsters. But then it should be able to revive any of your other monsters. So it also says once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, return one Gishki ritual monster you control to the hand, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do that, shuffle that monster into the deck. So it's a really good out for Nibiru and any other pesky hand traps that might be a problem. Now, the nice thing about Aquamira, it is basically for you new players who know about Invoked or anything like that, because this is a really old card. But it was recently printed in OTS 21, so you can pick them up over there for common, which is really cool. So what it does, it targets one Gishki ritual in your graveyard, and then you shuffle this card into the deck, and you add the Gishki ritual to your hand. So that is where the loop happens. It is not once per turn, so you can keep on recycling that. So from there, you're going to activate Aquamira, being able to tribute your Nerimanas, special summoning your Zeogeigus, and once again, you're going to shuffle the Aquamira to the top of the deck, or into the deck, to add this to your hand. Then from there, you're going to ritual summon once again, tributing your Zeogeigus, special summoning your Nerimanas, and now because Zeogeigus was summoned properly, you can use Nerimanas' effect to revive the Zeogeigus from your grave. Then from there, if you look at that, you have two level 10s. Now I know we could easily like overlay these two, but let's try play around Nib and stuff. So we're going to keep that Nerimanas on the field as best as possible. If you can't, oh well. But let us go into the Gustav Max right over here. If it comes up for me, there you go. Then you're going to declare the effect of Gustav Max, detaching one of your grave. I think we're having a bit of lag issues. So we're going to detach one from one of your materials from Gustav Max, burn for 2000, and then after that you will link off the Reaperdocus and the Gustav Max into any generic link to that you want. So we can go for Nightmare Phoenix, or we can go for the Donna Dagger of the Furhire. So we just need something to link into from there. Then you are going to use the Aqua Mirror, put it back into the deck to add the Neremanas to your hand to be able to get your stuff back. I don't know why this thing is suddenly lagging, but there we go, we can do that. And then from there, you are going to use Gale Dogger's effect, being able to send let's close that, being able to send the Cyframe Lord Omega to the grave. It still seems to be lagging. Being able to send the Cyframe Lord Omega to the grave, and then you're going to use Omega to add the Gustav Max back to the extra deck, and then you're going to send Omega again to the grave to be able to add the Reaperdocus back. Now I know you're probably wondering, yeah, the Zeogygus is in the grave, how are we going to get that back to Ritual Summon, right? So assuming we have sent the Herald of the Arclights to the grave to get all your Ritual Summons back to your hand, right? That's what we can do. Another option is, if you wanted to, right, you could also send the Omega to the grave to be able to shuffle Zeogygus back in, and then obviously be able to search it again. However, what you can also do with the Gale Dogger is you can send Totally Awesome to the grave, and then Totally Awesome will be able to add a water from the grave, which is not once per turn, so you can add the Zeogygus. Also, you can add any of your other waters, because like most of your deck is water anyway, so you add the Zeogygus back, and then once again you can send the Omega to the grave, and then the Omega targeting the Toad, being able to use it again in the turn. Then from there, we are going to once again tribute the Neremanas with the Ritual spell to be able to special summon Zeogygus, and then you are going to use the Aqua Mirror in the grave to add the Neremanas back to the hand, and then you are going to Ritual Summon once again the Zeogygus. As you can see, this is where the loop has kind of reset itself. Neremanas being able to revive the Zeogygus, and then overlay for your Gustav Max, which you will once again burn for 2,000, because none of these effects are once per turn. So you can detach, burn for 2,000, and then once again you link off back into the Reaperdocus over here that you just added back, and then you use the Omega to add your cards back, and you keep doing the loop over and over. So that is the idea of how the loop actually works in order to burn your opponent. The reason why I choose this loop instead of the hand rip is because hand rip is really good, but it does nothing going second. And these level 10s are actually really good going second, because this allows you to have an actual monster negate on the field at the time. And Zeogygus has actually got really good spot removal. So if you read it, it says once per turn you can pay 1,000 life points and you draw a card. If you do, reveal it, and if it was a Gishki monster, shuffle one card on the field into the deck. Notice that it says it does not target. So you pay the life points, and then your opponent has to decide there and then whether they are going to use that to actually negate it or not. So they don't get to see the monster yet. So that's like that's the main way you're going to FTK. The deck doesn't really end on insane boards. At best, right, you can possibly, like, on a good deck, you can actually, because you do side D barriers, so if you're going first and you want to actually debarrier them, you do actually are able to side the debarriers. You can use maybe your Saryuja to draw into more cards, because the idea is you're trying to draw into Gale Dogger or into the telekinetic charging cell. And then if it doesn't work out, you can always end on Appaloosa plus the Neremanas. And if you have this in your grave while you've got Neremanas on the field, which is the focused Aqua Mirror, which you used obviously to search for any of your Gishki monsters that turn, you are able to banish it to set your Aqua Mirror Illusion, which you can special summon a ritual monster from your hand during your opponent's turn, which is the Neremanas. So you actually get a double monster negate from the Neremanas. The only weakness, I guess, this deck has a terrible matchup against Runic, which is really, really tough. But other than that, I think it's still a lot of fun. Remember, it is not a meta deck, but you can sneak some really cheeky wins from it. So now, looking at other ways to be able to search your main combo pieces, obviously being your Gale Dogger and your what's the name, your equip spell. So we have another combo that we worked out, and this is why we play this card. So we have a couple of aces here. Now, for those of you, it is a new card that came out in Photon Hypernova. If you read it, if this card is in your hand, you can toss a coin, and if the result is heads, special summon this card to your field. If the result is tails, special summon it to your opponent's field. You can only use the effect of this card once per turn. If this card is special summoned, by its own effect, draw 2 cards. So whether you summon it to your side or your opponent's side, it doesn't really matter. But you use the Grimness to special summon the Abyss in this situation. Obviously, if you open it on its own, it's really tough. Then the Abyss on summon will add any of either your Shadow, which searches your ritual spell, or Vision to search your ritual monster, depending on what you want. So let's go for Shadow here. Then you can use the Shadow to discard to be able to thin out your deck, adding the ritual spell, right? Then from here, you're going to overlay into your Mannequin Cat, and then you're going to declare the effect of couple of aces. Now, we're not going to flip the coin. We're going to assume that it summons to your opponent's side, worst case scenario. Right? So if it summons to your side, that's cool. You get 2 cards, you get a +2. It's a pot agreed, right? But if it summons to your opponent's side, not only does it block them from imperming and gammaing you and all those kind of things, it also gives them 2 cards, but then you can use Mannequin Cat to target the couple of aces, and because it is an earth monster, you can special summon Gale Dogra. Now, there's also been other ideas of people using it to maybe summon Christia or things like that. So those are options that you guys can use if you want to try it in other spicy techs and decks. But this is what you go for, and then the Gale Dogra obviously starts your combo. But now, the other half of the combo, that's, I believe, the only way to kind of search Gale Dogra, but most of your monsters are level 2 anyway, and this is why Sprite is considered to be a card in this deck. So, it's just Gigantic Sprite will prevent you from being able to do the FTK. So then we have the Gale Dogra being able to pay the 3,000, send, in this case you'll be able to at least ritual summon a monster. But remember, this is just the 2-card combo. I mean, another way is you can also remember that all the Gishki monsters except Abyss are actually like the full tribute of a card. So that's also really, really strong. Like, for example, if this is your hand, right? You can literally use Aqua to tribute the Grimness, special summon the Neromanas. Neromanas revives your Grimness. Grimness special summons the Abyss. Let's send this to the grave. So let's assume this is in deck. You can special summon the Abyss from the deck. Your Abyss is able to get you a search, and then you're able to overlay into your Mannequin Cat if you have this in hand. So there are like a whole bunch of different ways to be able to do these sort of things. Now, also other ways to be able to get into your equip spell, which you play 3 of, the Teleconnected Charging spell, is you use your Power Tool Dragon. Now, Power Tool Dragon is a level 7 synchro. It randomly chooses 3 equip. You choose 3 equip spells from your deck, and then your opponent randomly adds 1 to your hand. Now, ways to get into it, of course, you use the Destrudo. So Destrudo is a good option. So we play Destrudo and 1 Foolish Burial because you're able to do that sort of thing, where you send the Destrudo targeting, I don't know, your Gishki Abyss, and then you synchro into the Power Tool Dragon, revealing the 3 Telekinetic Charging Cell, and you obviously add 1 to hand. Another option is because all your monsters are level 2, you can use the Instant Fusion to special summon Sea Monster of Theseus, which by the way is also a water, so can be revived with Neromanas, and then you are going to synchro the Sea Monster of Theseus with any of your level 2s to be able to summon the Power Tool Dragon, because the Sea Monster of Theseus is a level 5 tuner, so that's also really good. So those are your options for being able to get to your 2 cards that you need, and these are the different ways the decks can play and try get into FTKing. You also play the Monster Reborn in case you need to link off the Gale Dogra and you have the Monster Reborn brought back to summon it back, because that's like your main key component. And your idea is to try and make so you just go Dread to draw into the combo pieces you need, depending on your hand. Yes, it is a non-meta deck, as I said before. Has the potential to brick, but it is a lot of fun, and it can sneak you some cheeky wins. And trust me, I've been having a blast with this at locals. I usually like play. I sometimes do play in like the meta scene, but I've been wanting to do something fun for so long, and it's cool to bring Gishki's back, an old favorite, into the scene. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you have any more questions, please don't be shy to ask. I will give any details you need. If you have any ways to improve the deck, please let me know on the channel. And yeah, and I'll give you guys a shout out, and we'll see what we can do with this craziness. So from me, Frisby Moonsong, I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, please check out Shadowcast, because Shadowcast on Spotify, you'll see the link in the description below. We are going to be talking about a little bit about this deck in the podcast, so please check that out. And from me, Frisby Moonsong, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers, guys. Yow!